I'm going to tell you exactly which keys you should practice in. Because one of the biggest mistakes that students make is practicing everything that they learn in all 12 keys. For example, if you learn the blues, I don't recommend that you learn it in all 12 keys. Why? Because 99% of all blues tunes are played in about 3 keys. Same with jazz. About 99% of jazz tunes are played in the same 3 or 4 keys. Therefore, if you focus only on the essential keys, you'll cover most songs in those styles, the most important chord progressions to learn in each key, and the most important scale to master in each style. With this knowledge, you'll be able to confidently play most tunes in a style, comfortably play progressions in the most common keys, and creatively solo over most tunes. We're going to cover the top 3 styles that students want to learn, so be sure to watch the full video if you want to be able to play in these 3 styles. Starting with the blues. If you want to play blues piano, the 3 most important keys to learn are the keys of C major, F major, and G major. In other words, let's say you learned your blues chords in the key of C. You should have learned that the 1 chord is C7, the 4 chord is F7, and the 5 chord is G7. Well, once you're feeling good in the key of C, then I recommend that you learn these chords in the key of F. So in the key of F, your 1 chord is an F7, your 4 chord is a B flat 7, and then your 5 chord is a C7. Likewise, in the key of G major, your 1 chord would be a G7, your 4 chord would be a C7, and then your 5 chord would be a D7. And the beautiful thing is that once you've learned your chords in these 3 keys, you're going to be able to play 99% of blues tunes because most blues tunes are written in the keys of C, F, and G. And it's very uncommon to see blues in the key of, for example, G flat, or the key of B. Now, you will see some blues tunes written in B flat and E flat if you're playing jazz, and if you're playing rock-based blues, you might see some blues tunes in the key of E major and A major. But I would say that most traditional blues tunes that are piano-based will be in the keys of C, F, and G. So it's not an absolute rule that you're only going to play blues tunes in these 3 keys, but it is definitely the norm. And when you're practicing at the piano, it's essential to focus on the most common keys, and then if you encounter a particular tune, and maybe that tune is in the key of A flat, then you can practice that particular tune in that key. By the way, if you're enjoying the video, please hit the like button, and if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe for more videos just like this. Alright, the most important chord progression that you should learn in the 3 keys is what's called the 12-bar blues. Most blues tunes are written over this chord progression, so if you can play this chord progression in these 3 keys, you will be set to play most tunes. So the chord progression is simple. You're on a C chord for a bar, an F chord for a bar, and then a C chord for 2 bars, okay? Then you go to an F chord for 2 bars, you're going to play that twice, and then a C for 2 bars. Very simple. Then you're on a G for a bar, you're on an F for a bar, and then C for a bar, and finally G for a bar. Once you learn the 12-bar blues in C, I recommend that you practice this in the key of F and then in the key of G. Finally, you're going to want to be able to confidently solo over a blues tune. So the most important scale for you to learn if you want to solo over the blues is your minor blues scale, which sounds amazing. It is very simple, just 6 notes: C, E flat, F, F sharp, G, and B flat. That's your minor blues scale. All right, briefly, I want to show you how you might solo over a blues in C. Let's play with the included backing track. Here we go. By the way, if you're a member over at pianowithjohnny.com, you can download and print the lesson sheet music. Members can also download the included backing tracks, and this lesson comes with 9 downloadable backing tracks. Each style comes with 3 backing tracks, with each backing track in a different key. So I highly encourage you to download these if you're a member at Piano with Johnny. All right, style number 2 is jazz. Jazz can be super fun to play because you have all of these cool chords and scales, but for that very reason, it can be very challenging to play because once you learn it in one key, it can be super overwhelming to have to learn all of those chords and scales in all of the other keys. But the good news is that most jazz tunes are played in 3 to 4 keys. And if you focus on just these keys, you'll be able to play most jazz tunes. Now, as a jazz pianist, most of the tunes that I've encountered are in the keys of F, B flat, and E flat. In other words, it's very rare to see a jazz tune written in the key of A major or the key of E major. Most jazz tunes are written in flat keys. So if you think of the circle of fifths, most tunes are written on this side, the flat side. So the keys of F, B flat, E flat, and sometimes A flat. And the reason for this is a lot of jazz music was written in the big band era where you had trumpets and saxophones playing, and for these instruments, it's a lot easier to play in the flat keys than in the sharp keys. Now, of course, there are exceptions to this. You will definitely see jazz tunes written in the key of G major, or G flat major, or sometimes D major. But again, this is the exception, not the norm. So if you're learning jazz, it's essential to focus on these primary 3 keys, and this will cover most tunes that you'll actually play. Now, if you're learning jazz piano, the most important chord progression to learn is what's called the 2-5-1. And it's a very simple chord progression. If you're in the key of F major, it starts on a 2 chord of F. So you go to a G minor 7, then you play a 5 chord in F, which is a C7, and then a 1 chord in F, which is an F major 7, and then I like to throw a little substitute chord in here, which is an F6. Once you've learned this in F, then I encourage you to learn it in the other 2 keys. So in the key of B flat, the 2 chord is a C minor 7, the 5 chord is an F7, and then a 1 chord is a B flat major 7. Likewise, in the key of E flat major, if you want to learn the 2-5-1, the 2 is an F minor 7 chord, the 5 is a B flat 7 chord, and then the 1 is an E flat major 7 chord with the E flat 6. Now, the best scale to use if you want to solo in the jazz style is what's called the mixo blues scale. The scale uses 9 notes, and if you're in the key of F, here are the notes. F, G, A flat, A, B flat, B, C, D, and E flat. And the amazing thing with this scale is that you can use it over all of your 2-5-1 chords in a key. All right, before I teach you the 3rd style, I wanted to mention that if you want to go deeper on some of the topics that you're learning here, and you really want to understand it in more depth, you want to build more confidence, you want to get more comfortable playing in these styles and improvising, I encourage you to head over to pianowithjohnny.com. When you join the website, you get to take an assessment, and we will tell you your playing level and show you exactly what to practice. You'll get a personalized piano path, and we will show you exactly which track to practice depending on your learning goals. Not only will you learn the foundations, but you'll get to focus on the style that you want to learn the most, like jazz, blues, pop, and rock. You can also focus on a particular skill that you want to develop, like ear training, accompaniment, and soloing, and we have dedicated learning tracks that show you step by step how to learn each of these skills. So I'll put a link to some of those learning tracks below. All right, I'm going to show you how to create a little solo using this mixo blues scale in the key of F with the included backing track. Here we go. All right, the 3rd style is the pop rock style. want to play pop and rock, the three most important keys are the keys of D, A, and E. In other words, it's fairly uncommon to see pop tunes written in the key of A flat major or D flat major. The reason for this is that most pop and rock music is based on guitars, and guitar players like to play in the sharp keys, like D major, A major, and E major. And once again, there are exceptions to this, and there are plenty of pop and rock tunes written in the flat keys. You can have B flat and E flat. I would just say it's a little less common. So the most important chord progression if you want to play pop music is the 1, 5, 6, 4 chord progression, and there are literally hundreds of pop tunes that are based on this chord progression. So the chords are simple. We start with a D major, up to an A major, then a B minor, down to a G major. And the best scale to improvise over the pop and rock styles is the major blues scale. The scale only uses 6 notes: D, E, F, F sharp, A, and B. And here's how you'd improvise with the scale over the included backing track. Now, while it's important to practice these styles in the most common keys, I still recommend that you practice certain things in all 12 keys. For example, if you want to be a versatile and well-rounded pianist, I do recommend that you learn all of your major scales and your basic chords like major and minor chords in all 12 keys. And that's because when you're playing tunes in those 3 keys, when you play chord progressions within those keys, you will end up encountering all 12 of your basic major and minor chords. And if you want to go deeper on your piano learning, you can head over to pianowithjonny.com. We have a 14-day free trial and a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. So thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.